Meanwhile, President Biden says there is a long road ahead as Maui recovers from the deadly wildfires. Yesterday, the president and first lady visited the island for the first time since the fires 2 weeks ago. Officials have confirmed at least 115 deaths and say that more than 800 people are missing. Biden assured residents Maui's reconstruction will follow their lead.
By making sure your voices are heard, by respecting your traditions, by understanding the deep history and meaning of this sacred ground, and establishing your community not to change its character, but reestablish it.
Lilia Luciano joins us now. She has been reporting there for more than a week. Lilia, it's great to have you. First of all, we know that there are a lot of critics from residents about the federal government's response to the fires. I'm curious what it has been like since the president visited. What are you hearing?
Well, Meg, I mean, that was just very recent, but over the last several days, I think there was definitely a shift in speed in those recovery efforts and in the assistance that's provided by people. FEMA has already approved about $8.2 million to some 2,700 households. The majority of people have been moved from shelters to hotel rooms. I think initially it was a very slow process, and that's what people were very frustrated about. And there's still always skepticism. There's been rumors and misinformation spread on social media about how much to trust that aid, but FEMA has made sure to communicate to people, you know, there's really no strings attached when you accept this kind of aid, which is something that people feared. But of course, I mean, there can always be more, and what they fear is what happens moving forward after this initial assistance, after the critical aid $700, which of course in a place with the high cost of living that Hawaii has, it goes away very quickly, and that's per household. And this is a place where you have several generations living in one household. I mean, we've talked to people whose cousins, aunts, uncles, they all live within one household. So how that is done is what needs to be looked at. Now FEMA has established a center at the University of Hawaii and the Maui College where people can go and get that one-on-one assistance. But before that happened, before people had access to that, and those who still don't know that they have access to that, there's a lot of stress and a lot of suffering. And this, as you mentioned, while there are still more than 800 people who are unaccounted for, well, families are searching for the most important, the most critical, the most traumatizing, really, answers that they might never hear because of the degree at which the fire burned.
Well, speaking of the concerns and fears going forward, another big fear is about rebuilding. And we heard President Biden talk about that, and that they must respect Hawaii's traditions. What do you know what's being done to make sure that happens? It's still so early.
Yeah, that is a big question. Right now, I did talk to a FEMA spokesperson who said, I asked them specifically, what is different about Hawaii compared to other places that have had disasters when it comes to how FEMA works on the ground? And he said, look, we are training people. We are making sure that everybody who's out there is following the community lead, that there are sensibilities and sensitivities, and that we respect the culture. But that's something that's what you say. How you implement that long term is a huge question. And I think, you know, there were the concerns about developers or other people with different interests coming in and turning Lahaina into what locals have described to me they feared as like a Disneyland, as just a touristic paradise. And you have to take into consideration the history of Hawaii, the history of this place, how it was always those policies of providing for the continental U.S., of extraction, of, you know, agriculture, and then that turned into other industries that did not really serve the locals or empower the locals, and that turned into tourism. So people have a great deal of concern as they see, you know, a lot of wealthy people moving here, as they see that everything, you know, the jobs that are available for them are low paying and are meant to serve the tourists. What's going to happen to Lahaina, and how is their ancestral power, the past, the fact that Lahaina was the capital of the Kingdom of Hawaii, how is that area not just going to be rebuilt as it was, because it was already a tourism hub in many ways, but how can they maybe turn around and be more empowered and have more ownership of the land. And so all of those conversations, that's where the developers, that's where the long-term recovery efforts, that's where, all of those interests, the locals tell me, the natives tell me, the people who've been here for generations of their families say, we want to take the lead. We want to be in the forefront. We want to have the power to decide what to approve. And they know, because of their past, that hasn't been the case in many, many ways.
So many questions moving forward. Lilia Luciano on the ground there for us. Thank you so much for your reporting.